win elections or if it backfires.
Well, I guess only time will tell on that one. All right. So speaking of things that are a little intense, let's talk about party disloyalty.
Oh, yeah, party disloyalty.
It sounds like something out of a spy movie.
I know, right? But it's a real thing for them, and the consequences are pretty serious. They can disassociate you from the party. They can censure you, even ban you from party premises
For how long?
for up to 5 years.
5 years. Wow, that's a long time.
It is. You'd think it would be hard to enforce something like that.
Yeah, how do you even prove someone's being disloyal to the party?
It can be tricky. They define it as any action taken by a registered Republican to influence an election against another Republican candidate.
Okay, so like what kind of actions are we talking about?
Well, it could be publicly criticizing the nominee, donating to their opponent, actively campaigning against them.
So how do you prove someone's doing that intentionally?
It often involves gathering evidence like maybe social media posts, financial records, witness testimony.
I bet that gets messy.
It can, especially when you consider that people's reputations and their political careers are at stake.
Yeah, I can only imagine the drama.
And it probably gets even more complicated at the local level where everyone knows each other.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine having to accuse your neighbor of party disloyalty.
Right? Talk about awkward.
Yeah. It's a good reminder that even local politics can get pretty intense.
Definitely. But, despite all the potential for drama, I think that section on party disloyalty serves an important purpose for them.
Maybe.
It shows how much they value unity and loyalty within the party. It's a way of saying we stand together even when we disagree.
So it's more about maintaining a united front than actually punishing people for speaking their minds.
I think it's a bit of both. They're drawing a line in the sand and saying, if you cross this line, there will be consequences.
It makes you wonder if they've ever actually had to invoke those penalties.
I'm sure there have been cases, but those details are probably kept pretty quiet.
Yeah, probably for the best. All right, so we've talked a lot about the rules, the procedures, the potential for drama, but what about the human side of things? What's it actually like to be a member of the Person County Republican Party? What motivates people to get involved at the local level?
That's a great question. It's easy to get caught up in the documents and forget that there are real people behind all of this.
Right, these aren't just abstract concepts. These are people with passions and beliefs.
Exactly. And I think what motivates most people to get involved in local politics, regardless of their party, is a desire to make a difference in their community. They might be passionate about specific issues, or they want to support certain candidates, or maybe they just enjoy being part of a group with shared values.
Like finding your tribe, finding your people.
Exactly. And that sense of belonging, I think, is especially important at the local level, where your neighbors, your elected officials, the people who are shaping the policies that affect your life.
It's a reminder that politics isn't just something that happens in Washington, D.C. It's happening right here in our communities, and it's driven by people like us.
Absolutely. And while we've been focusing on the Person County Republican Party, I'm sure there are similar dynamics at play in local Democratic parties, Libertarian parties, Green parties, you name it.
Right. People are drawn to politics for different reasons, but that desire to make a difference, to have a voice, to be part of something bigger than themselves that transcends party lines.
It really does, and I think that's important to remember, especially now when things feel so divided.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the partisan battles and forget that we're all part of the same community.
Exactly. We're all working towards a shared future, even if we have different ideas about how to get there.
Well said. Okay, so before we wrap up part 2, I want to circle back to the County Executive Committee, or CEC.
Okay.
We talked about their role in amending the plan, handling vacancies, all that. But what about their day-to-day responsibilities? What do they actually do?
They're basically the governing body of the party at the county level.
Okay.
They meet regularly to discuss party business. They make decisions on strategy and spending. They coordinate efforts with the state party.
So they're the ones who turn the party's goals into action.
Exactly. They're responsible for everything from fundraising and organizing events to recruiting volunteers and getting out the vote on Election Day.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It takes a lot of dedication.
Yeah, you have to really believe in what you're doing to put in that kind of effort.
Absolutely. But, at the end of the day, it's about serving your community, making a difference.
And it's easy to forget that sometimes, amidst all the political noise, that there are real people working behind the scenes to make our democracy function.
You're absolutely right. And while we might not always agree with their views, I think it's important to acknowledge their commitment and their hard work.
Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap up part 2 of our deep dive into the Person County Republican Party. Join us for the final part, where we'll step back and look at the bigger picture, reflecting on what this document tells us about the state of local party politics and what it all means for you. All right, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the Person County Republican Party's plan of organization.
Okay.
We've gone through a lot, the rules, the structure, their values. It's a lot to digest, but I kind of want to zoom out a bit now
Yeah.
and think about the bigger picture. What does this document tell us about local party politics, and what does it all mean for you, the listener?
Well, one of the things that really stands out to me is how this local plan kind of mirrors some of the bigger trends we see in national politics.
Like what?
Well, that emphasis on ideological purity, the concern about blurring the lines between parties, even the procedures for handling dissent.
Right.
It's like a microcosm of the national conversation.
It's like those little snow globes.
Yeah.
You shake them up and you see a mini version of the bigger scene.
Exactly. And it shows that even at the grassroots level, parties are grappling with these questions of identity, ideology, and how to win elections in a changing world.
You know, one thing that I found interesting was that requirement for the treasurer to undergo compliance training.
Uh-huh.
It seems like they're taking financial transparency and legal stuff pretty seriously.
Oh, absolutely. Both parties at all levels are moving toward more accountability when it comes to money.
Okay.
The days of loose campaign spending are kind of fading away, which is good for democracy overall.
Yeah, it's reassuring to know that even at the local level, there are checks and balances in place to ensure ethical conduct.
Right. It's not just about winning at all costs.
Exactly. So it shows that parties are becoming more professionalized. They're realizing that playing by the rules and being transparent actually builds trust with voters.
It does.
So, we've talked a lot about the formal stuff, the rules, the procedures, all that.
Right.
But what about the human element?
Right.
What's it actually like to be part of a local party?
That's a great question. It's so easy to get caught up in the documents and the bylaws and forget that local party involvement is really about relationships and shared goals and working to make a difference in your community.
It's about finding your tribe,
Yeah.
finding your people.
Exactly. It's about connecting with like-minded folks who share your values and want to shape the future of your community and your country.
And while we've been looking at the Person County Republican Party in this deep dive, I imagine these dynamics are similar in local Democratic parties,
Yeah.
libertarian parties, you name it.
Oh, absolutely. No matter the party, people are drawn to local politics for similar reasons. They want to make a difference, they believe in certain values, and they want to be part of a community that's actively engaged in shaping their world.
It's a good reminder that beneath all the partisan labels, we're all citizens working towards a better future, even if we have different ideas about how to get there.
Absolutely, especially in today's world, where things feel so polarized. It's crucial to remember that we're all part of the same community.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought.
Okay.
We've explored the inner workings of a local party, their structure, their rules, their values. But what about you? What surprised you the most about this journey into local party politics? What questions does it raise for you about the role of parties in your own community?
We encourage you to think about those questions, talk to your friends and neighbors, and maybe even consider getting involved in your local party.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe you'll even be inspired to run for office someday. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep learning, keep questioning, and stay engaged with the world around you.